Hey there everybody, Mazarok here, and today I want to talk about WoW Lingo. Lingo? Certain words and terminologies over the years that have just become mainstays, and this is going to be a multi-part series. I've talked to my Discord about this a little bit as well on, words that they would like to see more beginners get accustomed with a lot quicker, because especially in keys, these words matter, and I just kind of want to go over some. So chances are if you've been playing this game for any amount of time, you probably know what these words are, but as we get further into the series, some of them might start getting a little bit more obscure. So we'll see with that, but this is really aimed to get beginners or people that don't speak English as well, that's not their native first language, that are playing with English guilds, that may not understand some of these terminologies as much, give them a helping hand as well. I mean, everybody deserves to play the game well and to understand one another when we can. So let's do this, right? But before we do, please do like, comment, subscribe, help out the algorithm. Ever since that YouTube crash, videos have been really, really wonky. Let's get that algorithm going. Share this video with some of your friends that think may need it or love it or whatever. But let's do that. There's a Discord link down below if you wish to join any sort of conversation filled with wonderful people. There's a Twitch link down below if you wish to watch me stream. Come by, hang out, and act like an idiot. Let's go. There's a Patreon link down below as well. I cannot do this without my supporters. I am trying to do this full time because I can make more content if I don't have a job to go to. If this could be my job, I would be in Pleasant Land, and I could stream almost every day and make YouTube content for you guys every day. Alright, so the first word we're going to be going here, this is a very, very common one. Everyone should know this. Most people should know this, but it's kick. Yeah, the word kick. And this means to interrupt something. Every class has some sort of interrupts, aside from healer priests, sorry. But this means to use your pummel, spear-handed strike, skull bash. The list goes on what it is, but this literally means to interrupt an interruptible cast. That's quite literally what it means, and the word and the terminology comes from rogues, because the rogue interrupt is called kick. And one of the common things that happen with these terminologies that we use and the lingo that we use is that most of the time in dungeons or in raids, we have a very short time to react to what needs to be done. So we use the fastest word possible, and kick rolls off the tongue. So we've adopted the word kick as every class's interrupt, almost. But it does stem from rogues and their interrupt. So that is what they mean. That is what we mean when we call for kicks, is to interrupt something. The next one is going to go into this, but it is CC/stop. So it could be either one, but they both mean the same thing. And what that means is there are non-interruptible casts that if you use your kick, it will not stop it, which means you need to stop it. You need to CC it. CC it being short for crowd control. This is stun, fear, horrify, displacement, typhoon, whatever you got to stop that cast from going off is very, very important. So when you do hear a when you hear a tank or a party lead call for a kick, CC or a stop, that is what we are referring to, is anything that can stop that mob from doing what they're doing, use it, because your interrupt is not going to work. Another one is lust. And this one I find is more problematic with non-native English speakers, which is perfectly fine. Everyone's from a different part of the world, right? In my stream, it's a very diverse channel. I have people apologizing all the time for asking questions, but the questions being maybe asked poorly in English, and in all honesty, that's not a problem. Honestly, look, if you're making an effort to learn another language, good on you. Like, good on you. Like, man, learning languages is not easy, alright? It's not. Especially the older you get, the harder it gets. So, lust. This is the short terminology for bloodlust, time warp, primal rage, fury of the aspects for evokers. All of those combined are lust, which is the 10-minute sated debuff that you get that makes you go brr for 30 seconds. I think it's 25 seconds, but whatever. I digress to, it makes you go burr for a period of time. But that is what we mean by lust. It's just different classes have different names for the same thing. Warriors is primal, Hunters is primal rage. Wording is hard today while making a video about words. Ironic. Hunters is primal rage. Shamans is bloodlust. Mages have time warp. And evokers have fury of the aspects. I'm 90% sure it's fury of the aspects. It's of the something of the aspects, but it should be. I think it's fury of the aspects. But all of that terminology, all of those abilities, get condensed into lust. So if you are in a dungeon and you are a lust class and you have someone in all caps yelling out lust, lust, that is what they mean. Next up on the list is Brezz. B-R-E-Z, Brezz. This is the shortened terminology for battle res. This is rebirth, soulstone, intercession for paladins, which is a new one. Raise ally for death knights. This is very, very important because in critical stages of certain pulls or bosses, you need to utilize a Brezz to get people back up to finish the pull, because sometimes you just need all 5 people going because it could be a big pull or, you know, whatever have you not. So when you do hear the call out, Brezz me, Brezz this person, that is what that means. It is short for battle res, because you cannot res someone while in combat or through normal means, right? Mass res or anything like that. Brezz is the shortened terminology for that. And we're going to do 2 more today. Frontal. This is something you're going to hear tanks call a lot, especially in comms. If I'm calling frontal, that means that there is one mob or a boss that is going to do an area of effect aimed at me, but will hit anyone in the path in that direct vicinity. It is usually a cone-shaped ability, but can be really anything. But that, if I'm calling frontal, it means don't be near me because you will die. If you don't die, you will be grievously injured. So do not do that. And when people are telling you, hey, you're standing in frontals a lot, that's what that means. Is there is a mob or mobs that do a cone-shaped ability usually, and that you need to not be anywhere near that. Don't be in front of it. That's why they call it a frontal. A little bonus thing here is sometimes I will call a barf and fart or a frontal bactyl, as I think Dratnos coined the frontal bactyl. I tend to call the barf and fart because it's a little bit shorter, but that is when there are 2 cones, one coming from the front and one coming from the back. This one, for me, the barf and fart actually originates from Theater of Pain and the gas bags, who would literally barf and fart in 2 cone shapes around them, and you did not even want to be in front of that mob or in back. That one hasn't catched on as much, but I like it. I think it's funny, so I just want to kind of give that as a little bonus. But the frontal bactyl is definitely something that you need to watch out for, and that is something that I call on the first boss in Court Stars a lot. So little bonus terminology there for you, not as well known, but a little fun fact. little fun. The next one is LOS, loss. This means to line of sight. There are a lot of mechanics or a lot of pulls that are made easier if you get initial aggro, or if they're putting off an ability to go around a corner, a wall, anything to lose line of sight of that mob, so that way they all come in. The one that I can think of now is in Algathar's Academy, where the last pull before going into the dragon boss is, for me, a lot easier, and you avoid the pat. We'll talk about pat next time. You avoid the pat by bringing them in, by line of sighting that entire, all the cast, because that way if everyone goes around the corner, the casters can't cast because they have nothing to hit. So they all come in and they get grouped up nicely, and then you avoid everything else. So LOS means line of sight, which means you need to actually lose line of sight on something to be able to work that out. And just because the tank has aggro on something does not mean that you don't need to line of sight. A lot of casts in this game, in Dungeons and Mythic Plus, will aim at a random target. So just because a tank has threat and he's line of sighted from that mob does not mean you are safe and that you shouldn't do it. Everyone should be grouped up in line of sight or some part away, so that way the mob moves. A lot of times I see in Algathar's Academy someone just hanging around the front door, and I'm like, This doesn't work unless you lose line of sight too, but LOS, loss, means line of sight. So that is going to be it for today for part 1. I am going to be doing part 2 sometime in the near future. I've already got a couple lined up, but if you have a couple of WoW lingos over the years you really like, some of them you think are funny, maybe not as popular as they should be, could be, whatever have you not, I would love to cover them. Leave that down in the comment section down below. Or what do you think is critical for people learning to play this game that they should know, right? Is there something I obviously missed? And I know I missed some. I have a list and I didn't cover them all just due to the length of the video. I am already planning on making this a part 2 and probably a part 3 and 4 as time goes on. But what do you think should be covered in these videos? I would love to hear what you guys have to say down in the comment section down below. Aside from that, please do like, comment, subscribe. Can't do this video without my patrons. Love you all. And aside from that, happy Monday and happy taking.